Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new series. This will be a playthrough of the beginner's guide. Quick warning before I start this, I just brought this on Steam and after several failed launches of the game I had to resort to the Steam Community Hub in order to fix it, where people on there were kind enough to give me the solution because someone else asked a similar question. I believe it's a like a common issue. But basically a lot of these video settings have to be like how they are. Like this has to be, if you change this to anti-static filtering, if you enable anti-aliasing, so I did all of that and it crashed, so I'm just going to leave them. So this game may not look as good as you were hoping, and believe me, I hope they fix it, because I've heard this game is like one of its key aspects is what it looks like. But you know, for now there's not much I can do. If I change the settings it seems to crash. And I have pretty decent setup, so it's not even like I can't run it, because I absolutely can. It just there obviously is some optimizational problems or something with the game. Anyway, let me just make sure the audio is still says full captions. There you go. See, so I've left the volume quite high. I don't know whether that's too high. Obviously, I'll have to wait till the comments or until the video or whatever goes up. But yeah, I think this game is gonna have a lot of voice acting or things like that. So it's a very story-driven exploration game. Exploration? Don't I say it like that? Exploration game. So yeah, I didn't want to turn it down too much. Anyway, let's begin the game. Please make sure your audio is on. See, proof there that I shouldn't turn the audio down too much. Controls WSD and left click. I believe you can use a gamepad. I am not using a gamepad. I'm using my keyboard.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the beginner's guide.
Oh, you're welcome.
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way.
It definitely is a level for Counter-Strike.
And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment.
Yep.
But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level.
Oh yeah.
And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town.
Yeah,
and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Okay. So this guy is obviously a friend. I'm guessing, you know, well, from the story, I'm not guessing, but he's showing off his friend's old games. His friend made some games and didn't really think they were good enough to release, so he just sort of chucked them away, which I know a lot of developers do. But yeah, so this is obviously one of his games. That was definitely a Counter-Strike level. Like, there's no doubt it looked like a Counter-Strike level, and I'm assuming the dead ends were spawn points. What? Whisper machine says active. Evacuate immediately. I want to explore. Hold on, I'm exploring.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Ooh, floating stuff. I can't get through that. I'm assuming this gun works. Yes, it does. I can't reload those, so it's very generic. Generic space shooter. I'm quite interested in this. I definitely like this Stanley Parable. I've got quite a few hours in. Oh, whoa.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
Where? What? You talking about me?
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance,
oh,
you have this gun,
E is
which
shoot.
you think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or
I
enemies
thought that.
somewhere. But then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
Yeah, that's it, I'm out of
But
bullets.
ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Fair point.
Enemy force neutralized.
I feel like I might need VSync for this game, or if you play it, get some VSync, because I can see some serious, serious frame issues. How do can I, like, gab? I understand. Oh, yeah. Cool, he's opened the door. Well, the door is opened. He didn't make the game, his friend did. Oh. Whoa. I guess he didn't bother to make a full...
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe in this room.
Thank you. I just pointed that out. Yeah, it's it doesn't have a floor. It's great. I like it. I like it though. It's cool. Very generic. Oh, this is
Apparently
amazing.
the space station has a labyrinth on it.
I'm going to stick to the right, which is the standard.
Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, whoa. I was enjoying that. Screw you, man. I'm gonna see if it goes anywhere.
If you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
Well, I would, because I want to see if there's like hidden stuff. Oh, that's pretty much where I came from. So now we're back here again, and then out here is the way out. Oh, is it? Oh, whoa! I thought that was the way out. Oh yeah. What is this? There's a door. Doesn't go anywhere. I kind of want to explore it though, because you know you don't know what's hidden in these games. Like this guy may have thrown games away because maybe he was finished with them. Maybe there is an ending to these games, but it's just not obvious. Also, this is weird. It's just not obvious because maybe he's hidden endings or whatever. Okay, I'm probably going to just get lost in here. But yeah, I still want to kind of explore. Yeah, definitely definitely a labyrinth, I'll give them that. I'm sticking to the left in case you're wondering what I'm doing to get through this, because that is the standard way to get through any form of maze. It will work every single time. Without fail. In the end, yeah, you hit dead ends, but in the end you will always reach a way out or the entrance. Depending on which way you started, obviously we found the way out, because he took us there. But I wanted to explore the maze. If he's just going to skip me past everything, then what's the point of playing it? This is weird. I actually have no idea where I am now in comparison. Oh. Back here. I found the entrance, sorry, but I didn't find the...
This is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
So I'm assuming this is the engine room. Whoa! Laser!
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine.
That's not bad voice acting.
It's constructed by introducing a great enough heat signature.
Me?
Your body could stop the beam.
Oh, I have to commit suicide.
It's
Fair
so
enough.
much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
I'm assuming you have to answer this kind of in the way that you would, so... Oh, there isn't a way out, so I don't really have a choice. But In reality, yes, of course you would. You would give your life to save hundreds of people, even though technically you don't know them. I guess that's what it's trying to get at here.
This is not a branching point. Unfortunately, the only option is
yeah, I get it. I'm just saying, like, in the only way that you can save these people's lives is kill yourself, but you don't know these people. I've never spoken to these people. I've just been, heard a voice saying that there's people on the ship. So I've kind of got to give my life in the idea that there's things. And maybe I'm criticizing the game or like picking it apart, but that's what I do. So, sorry. Yeah. Fine, sure. There is no way past, so I have to do it.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay, so I'm back here in the beam. Can't go anywhere. Like, I'm thinking there's hidden parts in all these levels. Like, that's the reason he binned them, is because there was just hidden areas that he didn't want people to know. But sure, let's get the bug going. Oh, I elevated into the ceiling. And there's the labyrinth. Oh, cool. Whoa, this is cool. So yeah, this is obviously the bug that
you to start floating.
Yeah, that's
and this
pretty sweet. It's a pretty sweet bug.
Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system.
Oh, absolutely. I thought I was tiny.
Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Sure. That was cool. November 2008 again, so he's straight after that one. Oh, I can't move. Oh, I can move.
Yep.
I can only move backwards.
Only walk backwards.
The past was behind her. Okay, so let's have a look where I'm going before I keep walking. There's a hole in the floor. Sure. Oh, there's holes in all the floor. The walls aren't connected. Just taking a look at this is going to get quite dizzy. But whoa! But the future could not be seen.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining
the
motion and narrative.
Why does
it is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Oh. Whoa! There's like a thing over there. When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. Sorry, I just hit my track IR on my mic. That's bad. I need to take that off. I don't use it anyway. Oh, whoa, let me just go back. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to carry on? Is that going to be the next one? Hey, to confront it. Oh, okay. So now...
It's a short little thought. It says what it wants to say, and then
weird.
It ends.
I like it.
Didn't need anything more than
weird,
that.
But I like it.
Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Okay, that was it, but that's fine. Can I walk forward? I can walk forward. Okay, so this is a visual game where I can only see sort of a meter or two ahead of myself. You are now entering... I can't go sideways, by the way. It doesn't let me go there, and it does let me go back, but not at the start. So this is a visual... Whoa, okay.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
So he seems to like the idea that you can't just see what's ahead of you.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Oh! Oh, I like this.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him.
Can I jump off? Can I die?
But what are you gonna do?
I can't die, so I can't fall off the world. He obviously.
I know it's tempting, but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
Yeah, but it was worth a explore. Also, yeah, you can't walk off the wall. I tried. Believe me. So there's just basically a giant staircase to heaven. I think it's the idea here. So once again, the idea of an afterlife, maybe, like he said before about the end. But maybe this guy just didn't find everything in this game, because he said he played his friend's games, but maybe he missed something. I don't know. But I'm going to assume there's nothing. Can I not run? I can't run. But this is cool. I like this. Giant staircase to heaven. Wow, that is a big staircase. Is there actually any supports to that? No, it just hovers. Also, there's a weird bit of shading there. Where have we even got a sun? No, the sun is sort of all the way around the other side. There's no skybox. That's the skybox, it's just blue with an outside sun. Oh, I've slowed down.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens.
So you can't reach the exit.
So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
I don't really want to. No, like, I understand that he's trying to show you the thing about his games, but this was a game his friend made, and in my opinion, this was how it was meant to end. Like, that's how he developed it. He developed it so that it would end like this, not so you'd explore, but sure, for purposes of this game, let's go on. I pressed enter, by the way. Oh, he did actually develop something in here. What did he say? You walk around talking to people down there. Whoa, are these people's thoughts? You are the queen, dusting your jewelry while the kingdom is destroyed?
A room that's warm.
Players a pair of floating eyes. This is amazing.
Filled with little ideas for games.
That's why he didn't want people to see, is because this was his ideas. Can't go in there.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
This is like really soothing. Like amazingly peaceful. Okay, so back in now we're on 2009, so about 3 months later. 2 months later, 3 months later. I liked that last bit though. It's cool. But again, in my opinion, he developed it so that people wouldn't see it, because they were his ideas and he didn't want people to see them. He didn't want people to know what he was actually thinking. Once again, I may be thinking too far into this, but he didn't want people to know what he was thinking. That was the idea.
Well, this is new for
Coda.
So
you can't get back.
It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
So pull the lever. Easy enough. Can I pull the lever and quickly run back? And then there's a lever on the side.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
Okay, so you pull the lever on the other side. It's pretty easy. What the heck? Why are there 3 dots in? Not sure. Once again, another can't go back point. Unless you can go back by climbing on this, I don't know. No, you can't. You cannot go back. Interesting. Can't close that door.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Can I... There's got to be a door behind this, or something. So before I press enter, I just want to check myself, to make sure that I can't find anything. Sure, go ahead and remove the walls. So there's nothing here. I thought the door might be here. So that's a wall, that's a wall. So there's stuff.
About that?
There's loads.
There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that
this
this
game
comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same.
Well,
is that most of the time, you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
I'm not sure where this is taking us yet, but I'm absolutely excited to find out. That's why me and a lot of other people...
So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
So, yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why a lot of people, including myself, like to explore in games, like really look at every detail, even if it's not on the like current path, because, as he said, lots of games and stuff hide things. The developers like secret things that, as most people know them as Easter eggs, but things that the developer
Let's talk about video game
made.
development for a second.
Okay.
Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Cool. So building here.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Source Engine, by the way, for people that don't know, is what runs TF2 and Counter-Strike.
Shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
I can literally just fall. Woohoo! This is the coolest thing ever. Oh, whoa, whoa, let's try and slow down a little bit here. So he creates a lot of boxes because that's what Source Engine's designed, and I guess maybe he feels like he's sort of... he bases it around himself, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't know, I'm not him. But we've reached the bottom and there's a staircase. I can't actually get off the staircase without going to the bottom. Interesting. I can't... Ah! There's actually a sphere here. So it's actually a glass tube if you look. You can sort of see it there. You can see the separation. Interesting. Very basic shapes. Circles, semicircles, stairs, and a square. He's not really trying to be complex. Maybe he's talking about himself or his personality in some way. Maybe I'm not trying to be offensive. Maybe he thinks of himself as a very simple person. This is like a long corridor. Also, weird noises. I guess it wants me to go this way. Is this the horror aspect of his game? Oh, it's an elevator. Cool. I didn't see that coming. Can I get off early? No, I can't. I have to wait till it stops. So there's that. I have to go that way. I didn't have a choice.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Oh, so it would make you wait an hour.
This is something I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
So I can't go anywhere else. I have to go down here. Again, this glass tube, this container, with a light in the middle. I assume that's a light. Yes, it is. But I actually agree with his friend. Not necessarily games don't have to be playable. I could, as long as it's an experience that's, you know... I'm not saying movies are games, but... an interactable experience of some kind, whether I have to move the camera, whether anything. It's a game, because you... I don't know, it's just... it's an experience, and that is a game. A virtual experience is a game. A game or a simulation, but I would consider a simulation a genre of games. As with a lot of people. Once again, the same puzzle.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
I'll take your word for that.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over.
Maybe he's just figuring out where is best to use it.
Interpretation very shortly.
He may be figuring out where is best to use the puzzle, maybe, in some of his levels. And that, you know, he's just trying out different ideas. games entirely, like the mini games people make when they first start in development, are just ideas. They're, you know, they're concepts that people come up with. That's the idea. Oh, okay. There's a furnace and 3 people. What?
Here, Coda begins
You there?
using
Did
a kind
you
of dialogue
come from
system
up
that he
above?
fashioned out of the engine's
was up
chat
there?
capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard
Yes.
to respond.
Okay. So you there? Did you come from above? What was up there? Yes, there was a world stamped with whiteness. Yes, there was an enormous prison I went and spent hours in, or which would have been hours, but we skipped ahead. Yes, there were those floating coloured blocks. I'm going to say it was a prison we spent hours in. That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. No, I don't remember having to go through that puzzle. Or 3, I prefer not to tell you. After all, we've only just met. So this is the concept that you don't know who these people are. Are you willing to tell them the truth, lie, or just say you're not going to tell them? I'm going to say I prefer not to tell you. What? But you don't understand. We're trapped here. The puzzle is our only escape. We need to get through it. You think you want to get through, but trust me, you don't. Let me describe it for you. Me tell you all about how to get out there. Alright, I'll tell you how to solve it. What was that middle one? Let me describe it for you. Let me tell you all about what is over there. You think you want to get through, but trust me, you don't. Yeah, I'll put that one. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get out there. Do you understand? It is the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you there is nothing. I went there. So, we've been released? Yeah, we've been released from the outside. So, I'm not entirely sure what this was about, but I'm sure we'll find out. So, maybe it just had nothing. Maybe it was just practice. Again, a concept. And we're back again, repeating rooms. How did you get here? Was there a puzzle you went through? So now it's shortened the answers. So yes, do you want to know how to solve it? Or no, I've been here this entire time. Do they want to know how to solve it? No, we actually find the black space between the doors to be the more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Why would I care about the space between the doors? Actually, now you mention it, I do remember feeling strange as I passed through it. There was a black space between the doors, I remember it. I don't recall a space between the doors. There definitely was a space between the doors. I'm going to put, I passed through it. But they're not in it. Don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. Okay, cool. Did they say listen again? Yeah, they all say listen. Oh, can't get through the door. Another staircase. Again with the very square looking walls. Like it's not curved at all. It's just...
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Okay, guess we're going down here. Long corridor. Like he said, it's what he seems to be building with a lot. And there's an outside courtyard? Like a courtyard, I guess. What is this based on?
It's a lamppost.
Oh,
okay,
right, the lamppost.
I can't tell
is
you
the
quite
key.
why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out.
Weird.
I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination.
So this lamppost.
Which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Okay, so this is his idea of completion. Reaching this lamppost is the idea that he has for completion, and so his games will now lead, as the man said, to This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. Oh, this is the Dark Souls style. All notes you leave are left by other players. Oh, let's see, are left by other players. Because this is very much Dark Souls. If you've seen how Dark Souls works, you're connected to the internet, and you can write notes. Can I read it? Doesn't let me do anything with this. Enter, maybe? Doesn't actually, okay. I can't read these, like these are just...
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this,
oh, there you go.
This game is not connected to the internet.
How do you beat this
All
game?
of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
This place is amazing.
Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
I know he said nothing would happen if I read these. Part of me really wants to read them all. Maybe I'll do it off camera. Maybe I'll replay this and read them all. But I love this concept. This idea that you could store... I guess the idea that you could store a diary in a game. If obviously your main output was creating games, then what better way to write down your thoughts, your opinions on life, anything in a game that only you play. In a game that, you know, that only you can experience. And if anyone else plays it, this makes no sense, really. Like, you know. He's saying recognize you, please. So he's lonely, he wants people to, you know. This specific message here says a lot. It says he's lonely, it says he wants attention. No one recognizes him. That's why he's saying it. You know, this is just his thoughts. There's nothing here, go back. Don't listen to that guy. So he's contradicting himself. Part of him, you know, thinks that he's nothing. The rest of him thinks, you know, maybe you are something. A free t-shirt. I don't really understand them. Obviously some of these I'm not going to understand because this is his life. You know, he wrote these not for anyone else to read, for himself to read. That was the point. Ooh, that's cool. And by saying that they're written by other people online, I guess it gives him a sense that he can write whatever he wants, because it makes it feel like it's not written by him when he plays it. You know, I know he knows it is, but you know, once again, I may be thinking too far into this, but this is the idea I'm getting from this. And obviously, if you go and play it, then you'll maybe get a different concept. But I'm getting the vibe that he made this room. He said it was by other players, so that when he played it back, he could, you know, read it as if he was thinking about someone else and not himself, and kind of get into the mindset of someone else reading back at himself. What this is, I don't know. I want to see what this one over here is. I don't think things do look messy. I think that's cleaner up close than it is over there. From up here, it just looks like dots. Yeah, that's what it is. But from far away, what does it look like? A board of colours. Sorry, I have to sneeze.